My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare. And you don't need to take me at my word or take Andrew Cuomo at his. You need to only look at the actions of the Trump administration since I won the Democratic primary. How else can you describe a president who has sought to entertain suggestions of deporting me, of arresting me, of taking control of the city over the will of New Yorkers? Those are the actions of a president who is afraid of the fact that I will actually deliver in a manner where he is simply betrayed. Democracy is also under attack from within. We need only look at the example of the greatest mayor in New York City history. We are standing in front of Federal Plaza, the very site where New Yorkers are being stolen, whether from their families, their friends, or from the city that they call home. It is at this very site that we understand the cost of this news, that former Governor Cuomo has been conspiring with President Trump about the fate of this city, about the future of this city, about the facts of this race. It is knowledge that is a betrayal of everything that we stand for as New Yorkers. It is knowledge that disappoints us, and yet it does not surprise us, because it builds on a history that we have seen with this former governor. A history of trying to hide that which he knows is offensive to the values of this city from the people of this city. We see that with this call itself. Something that took place many weeks ago, and yet it took the New York Times to share this with New Yorkers. We know that this former governor has very little regard, whether it be for the Democratic Party, the democratic process, or for Democrats themselves, because he would rather look past having been beaten by close to 13 points by a campaign that amassed more votes than any Democratic primary winner in New York City history, to the extent that he would actually have a conversation with the very president who is stealing food from the hungry, who is throwing New Yorkers and Americans from coast to coast off of their health care, and doing so all in service of yet another significant wealth transfer between those who do not have enough in their pocket to those who have more than they know what to do with. We know that Andrew Cuomo will sell working people out for his interests, for the interests of the billionaires that supported him, for the interests of Donald Trump, because all of those interests are lining up as one and the same. It is time for us to say enough. It is time for us to make clear that what this city deserves is a mayor who, when he sees Donald Trump attacking the people of this city, will stand up and fight back against that vision. Will not get on the phone with the architect of that vision to speak about a race that we already know should be a referendum on how to make the most expensive city in the United States of America affordable. Not a question of how we can install yet another ambassador for Washington, D.C. in City Hall. I am surrounded by New Yorkers for whom this cost is lived every single day, for whom this question and this decision to get on the phone with Donald Trump has a significant and tangible impact on their lives and the lives of those that they serve. And as we stand here at Federal Plaza, I do so knowing that it's just blocks from here where I got my citizenship, where I was sworn in as an American in this city that I was raised in, and knowing that if Donald Trump is to act upon his threats to denaturalize me, it will likely take place right at this plaza. The job of mayor is not to audition to be the jester for a want to be king. It is to be the person that stands up for the values of this city, for the fabric of this city, and for the people of this city. And that is what I am running to do. I am so thankful to have been joined by such incredible leaders in organized labor. And I would like to begin by calling up Nadine Williamson from 1199 to share more with us as to the cost of this kind of a decision.
What do you think Trump could actually do in this race that would help Andrew Cuomo or another candidate who hasn't necessarily made up his mind? Like, in a city where only 30% of people voted for him? What could he possibly do? And secondarily, if he were to call you, would you take the call? I don't know if he, and has he called you?
Donald Trump has not called me. I've said that my approach to Washington will not be a reflexive one. It is one that will be in opposition to Donald Trump's administration when it comes for New Yorkers, when it comes at the expense of the welfare of the people that I am seeking to serve. If the president and the administration is looking to work for the benefit of New Yorkers, which is what he spent so much of his campaign speaking about, that is a different conversation. If he wants to actually act upon the cheaper groceries that he told us he would deliver, that is a different conversation. But what threatens the president so much about my campaign, our movement, is the fact that it showcases the way in which he's betrayed the very people that we are seeking to serve. He ran a campaign about affordability. He ran a campaign about cost of living. And those same New Yorkers, those same Americans, do not find the necessity of their life any more in reach than they were before the presidential election. And our commitment, it is in contrast to his because it's sincere. It's one that we will actually deliver.
If he called, would you pick up and talk with him? I assume you might share the message, but would it be an obvious, I'll have a conversation with him?
I will tell Donald Trump the same thing I'm telling you right now. That's what marks me different than Andrew Cuomo. Whatever I say on a sidewalk, I say in a press conference, I say in a boardroom. It's the same agenda, it's fighting for the same people, and I will make that case to everyone. What I will not do, however, is pick up the phone to call Donald Trump to ask how we could work together to defeat the will of Democrats across the city. That's what Andrew Cuomo did.
Zohran,
Sorry, yeah.
Gloria, over here.
Zohran, what would you say to Andrew Cuomo and his team who say that the president would cut through you like a hot butter knife? You said this during the debate. Or more specifically, that he's the one that has the experience and that your election would ultimately hurt Democrats across the nation. How would you respond to that criticism and their comments that they're apparently the only ones who can stand up against Trump?
My administration would be Donald Trump's worst nightmare. And you don't need to take me at my word or take Andrew Cuomo at his. You need to only look at the actions of the Trump administration since I won the Democratic primary. How else can you describe a president who has proposed denaturalizing the Democratic nominee of New York City? How else can you describe a president who has sought to entertain suggestions of deporting me, of arresting me, of taking control of the city over the will of New Yorkers? Those are the actions of a president who is afraid of the fact that I will actually deliver in a manner where he is simply betrayed. That is what we have to look at to understand that our campaign represents our city's best chance at not only fighting back against authoritarianism, but understanding that democracy is also under attack from within. We need only look at the example of the greatest mayor in New York City history, Betrayal of New York, who said, "One cannot preach the virtues of self-governance and liberty to a starving people." In order for us to defeat this authoritarian movement, we also have to showcase the ability for our democracy, our city government, to meet the needs of a population of whom 1 in 4 are in poverty in the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world.